Hallo und herzlich willkommen einmal an alle Zuhörer. Hello and a warm welcome to the audience. Today we've got a special guest here, which is Cantourage. But before I start, I would like to start with a few technical introductions. We've got a chat box down there. If there are any kind of question, please do not hesitate to ask them. Use the chat box. We will get back to them later on. And we will start our presentation with like a 25 to 30 minutes presentation of the investment case of Cantourage. And then we will continue with the Q&A session. So on the behalf of Alster Research, a warm welcome from my side. With Cantourage, I'm sorry, we have an interesting guest this afternoon in our roundtable presentation. And due to the IPO, which is not such long ago, Cantourage could be quite new to some of our investors. There's been a lot of news flow in the recent year regarding cannabis legalization, and for recreational use. But what is different with Cantourage? The medical cannabis is available in Germany, especially since 2017 already. So it's a quite different equity story than the most known equity cases we have seen in the past. But that should be enough from my side. Philipp, Bernd, and Aline, I'm really looking forward to hear your insights today, and let's say hi to our investors.
Thank you, Harry. To everybody who dialed in, welcome to today's roundtable. Very happy that you joined the session today. So my name is Philip. I'm the CEO of Cantourage. My colleagues Bernd, that's our CFO, and Aline are also in the line. Aline is leading our investor relations department. In today's session, obviously we'll talk about Cantourage, but also give you a couple of insights on the latest market developments. In the end, Bernd will talk about our key financial figures. As Harry mentioned, we are shooting for roughly 25-30 minutes, so we'll have ample time afterwards to answer all or at least some of your questions. So let's get going and talk about Cantourage. But I thought it's worthwhile, before we jump straight into our story, into our equity story, to quickly talk about medical cannabis. I guess most of you are well aware the European markets for medical cannabis have been existing for quite some time. The largest one by far is Germany. And after a change of law in 2017, the number of patients grew dramatically. And I think for a very good reason. On the one hand, you could say cannabis doesn't cure any illnesses, but it definitely helps to improve the quality of life for lots and lots of patients. As you can see here on the slide, there are numerous indications where cannabis can be prescribed for, and the side effects are very limited to mild. You can see here, so it goes from chronic pain to sleep disorder to Tourette syndrome. So maybe it's news to some of you. You don't need to be terminally ill to get a prescription for cannabis. And that's why more and more people are getting prescriptions to improve their quality of life. You don't need to be terminally ill. Living proof is sitting here. I'm also a cannabis patient, and definitely improve my quality of life. That's a bit of a detour talking about medical cannabis, but let's talk about Cantourage now. So real quick, an overview of our company. In a nutshell, we are one of the leading European cannabis companies. The founders and the management team, we've been doing it for quite some time. We've been active in the space since basically its inception, since 2016, 2017. That also led to in-depth knowledge of the regulatory framework. And that actually led to a rather unique idea how to build up a completely new operating model that is disrupting and changing the market. So we've been doing it before, but we've been doing it now differently, and we became a so-called smart second. What does that actually mean, and what's so unique about Cantourage? Let's have a quick look at the different operating models currently seen in the European cannabis industry. We differentiate between three archetypes. On the left hand, there are so-called vertically integrated players. They're doing everything themselves, from cultivation to manufacturing to distribution. And most of them are well known. Basically, the Canadian listed players are all vertically integrated. For example, Afria, Tilray, or Aurora, or Canopy. They have a fully integrated supply chain. On the other hand, there are a couple of wholesalers in the German market. They don't cultivate by themselves. They don't manufacture by themselves. They actually buy the products from one of the few EU GMP certified cultivation manufacturing sites. So buy the product and then try to sell it into the German and or the European medical markets. We came up with a new model because we saw that the actual bottleneck is not cultivation, because there are more than 25 licensed cultivators around the globe. The bottleneck is actually the manufacturing bit. It's very challenging, it's very costly, it takes a lot of time to get a coveted EU GMP certification for your manufacturing hub. Most of those cultivators around the globe cannot afford or don't have the capabilities to actually set up their own GMP operations. That's why we came up with this new model, which allows us to source cannabis from around the globe, bring it to Germany, and here do the manufacturing, which actually transforms the product into a pharmaceutical product, which then can be sold in all the European medical markets. As of today, we've built a network of cultivation partners, over 50 cultivators around the globe out of 18 countries. They send us their products, we turn it into a pharmaceutical product and then sell it into 6 European countries as of now. Here you can also see we don't stop at distribution. We're also thinking about new innovative ways also to get closer to the patients. In the UK, we set up our own cannabis clinic, the so-called Cantourage Cannabis Clinic, which gives us also direct access to patients. So that's quite unique. As of today, we are one of a kind. There's a few players trying to copy our model, but so far they have not been successful. Here also a quick overview of what's Cantourage all about. I just mentioned, so we're active in 6 different European countries, Germany, UK, Poland, Denmark, Slovenia, Croatia, Austria and Switzerland. It's actually 8 countries, sorry. Our headquarter is in Germany. Our manufacturing hub is in Germany, but we've also set up a country organization in the UK, where we import our goods, wholesale it to other clinics or other wholesalers, but also have our own cannabis clinic where doctors talk with patients about therapy options with cannabis. So here in the UK, we also have a direct-to-patient access. The operating model leads to different product formats. We're active in, let's say, at least to us, the most important market segments. On the one hand, it's dried flowers. More details on that a bit later. We're also active in dronabinol, where we have our own branded product. Dronabinol is basically neat THC. It's a highly concentrated THC. Been around in Germany for 10, 15 years. In the dronabinol market, we've gained roughly 40% of the German market together with a partner. So here we're also a dominant force in the German market. In our portfolio, there's also extracts in pharma-grade CBD, but that's actually not our focus because those markets are rather small and rather niche. And most important for us is our dried flower business. Speaking of dried flower, due to our operating model, we can bring in new innovative products, genetic strains, cultivars, basically every 2 to 4 weeks, bring something new and exciting to the market. Some of those products have not been seen in the medical market and or the black market. So it's always exciting for patients to see if Cantourage launches a new product. Here we're working with, as mentioned, cultivation partners. We're also using their brand. That's what we call our operating model a platform. And we brought in products from Jamaica, Uruguay, Uganda, Canada. And here we're bringing a very diversified and broad portfolio. On the one hand, there's rather low-cost products, which is especially geared towards those patients who don't get reimbursed by the health insurance companies. So for the first time ever, we introduced products which can be bought by patients for roughly €5 per gram in a German pharmacy. So here it's for the first time ever that some of those patients can actually afford cannabis, legal cannabis from a pharmacy to treat their illnesses. On the other hand, there's also premium flower, very high quality products, products which you can't even find in a coffee shop or dispensary. Most of the products actually coming from Canada, which we sell for obviously way higher prices. And given our production network, our very diversified portfolio, it gives us a unique advantage compared to our competitors, because we can cater to different patient needs. It's either super high quality or it's super low prices. It's either an indica, it's a sativa, it's a hybrid, it's from time to time a certain terpene profile. We can definitely cater to any existing or future patient needs rather quickly. Because bear in mind, introducing a completely new genetic, a new product, takes our competitors 18 to 24 months to bring that product into the market, because it takes a while to grow a plant consistently. We have already 50 different growers in our portfolio, and they are already growing 3 to 4 different products. So we're definitely very flexible, very agile to react to shifting market demands. And to me, that's really a strategic and a core advantage, because it's a rather young, it's a rather dynamic market. You need to react fast, because 6 months ago, Gorilla Glue, which is a certain cultivar, was in very high demand. Then everybody started to cultivate Gorilla Glue. And 6 months later, it's a completely new genetic, like a Miracle Alien Cookie, which is another name for a cultivar. And in the meantime, the market gets flooded with Gorilla Glue, but we're the ones who introduced the Miracle Alien Cookie. So that's our dried flower portfolio, which is, again, very diversified, very agile, very reactive, which gives us the core advantage over our competition. Next up, I want to talk about the latest market development. And already saw in the chat, there's a question around the legal situation for cannabis in Germany. I'll talk about that in a heartbeat. Here, real quick, the medical markets in Europe, they're already established and they're growing fast. So it's not like that Cantourage or any of the industry players need to create a new market. The markets are already there, established and growing. The largest markets in Europe is by far it's Germany, and next up is Poland, the United Kingdom. Hint, that's why we are also very active in those markets, because we try to establish ourselves in those markets where we can actually make some money. Bernd will talk about that in the end. What drives market growth? On the one hand, it's a better offering for patients. Thanks to Cantourage, obviously, there's better product now available at better price points. Before Cantourage, there were just a few players active, mainly those from Canada, and mediocre cannabis costs you like 20 to 25 euros a gram in the pharmacy. So we improved product quality, product availability, but also the pricing. So even our high premium flowers go for between 14 and 18 euros a gram in the pharmacy. That's definitely very competitive to black market prices. So that's why lots of people who used to go to the black market in order to get their cannabis are now flocking into the legal system in order to get better product at better price points. In addition to that, market growth is also driven obviously by doctors, because at the end of the day, it's a medical product. You need to have a prescription in place in order to get cannabis from a pharmacy. when we see that more and more doctors are warming up to the idea to prescribe cannabis. Some of them are even pushed by their patients because they're actively asking for cannabis. And on top of that, there are more and more specialized clinics or specialized doctors who are very open to the dialogue whether cannabis is the right medicine for your indication. So a couple of years ago, you had to run around from doctor to doctor and trying to find somebody who's open to the idea. Now it's a simple Google search, search for cannabis doctor. And you might, or you will find somebody who will have an open dialogue whether it's the suitable medicine for you. So it's easier for patients to get a prescription or at least find a doctor who's willing to prescribe cannabis. And as you can see here, that definitely drives market growth. The big question is, what's the full potential of cannabis in Europe? And there's lots and lots of buzz, lots and lots of discussion around recreational markets open up in Europe. I guess most of you also follow the discussion in Germany, but there's also a few other countries currently talking about the legalization of cannabis, Malta, the Czech Republic. All in all, it might be that it's only a question of when, no longer a question of if, and it's obviously it's a huge potential. Just looking at the German market, which is again by far the largest medical market. The medical market is estimated at 20 tons per year. A conservative estimate of the recreational market in Germany puts us around 400 tons. So the recreational market, which is already there, it's just an illegal market because it's a black market, is 20 times larger than the by far largest European medical market. Yeah, so Germany could be the first big domino to fall, and it's definitely a very, very big domino. But given the current discussion, let's say in the German government and also in the parliament, we'll see where we end up. As of now, they're talking about a so-called two-phased approach with two pillars. So pillar one is basically home grow and cannabis clubs, and pillar two is pilot projects. And I want to quickly talk about that system also in comparison to the other existing markets. So the existing markets is obviously it's the black market and it's the medical market. And I want to compare the three different, let's say, market types along 5 criteria. On the one hand, supply chain. So black market and the medical market is very stable supply chain. There is product available. On the other hand, in that recreational market, I mean, you need to go to a cannabis club and fight with other club members to get your product, or do a home grow, which is rather tricky because growing cannabis is very, very challenging. So I have a tough time to believe that it's a stable supply of good cannabis in that outlined recreational market in Germany. Second criteria is products. Black market is a bit of a mixed bag. From time to time, there is good product, but it's not really diversified. It might be an unsafe product because it's not tested against certain pharmaceutical standards. So you might be lucky or you might be very unlucky. It's a mixed bag. In the medical market, as I've just shown, the Cantourage Bright Flower portfolio, excellent products, highest quality because it's manufactured according to pharmaceutical standards. So it's just excellent products available. In the recreational market, again, growing cannabis is very tricky, especially if you do it by yourself at super small scales. I have a hard time to believe that the product quality is comparable to the black market or even to the medical market. Third criteria is price. Black market is rather cheap, but I think the medical market is competitive. Some of our products are actually a lot cheaper than the black market price. And those products which are, let's say, a bit more expensive are actually of superior quality. So I think the medical market and the black market are equal in terms of price level. In the recreational market, growing cannabis in Germany, very, very expensive, and then doing it at a small scale. So I think the recreational market is actually at a disadvantage to the existing black and medical market. Fourth criteria is the service level. Black market, yeah, might be that you call up somebody who comes to you at home, or you need to go to a dark alleyway. So you might again be lucky or very unlucky. So again, like a mixed picture, at least from our perspective. In the medical market here in Germany, you have lots of online and mail order pharmacies. Basically, you get your cannabis delivered to your doorstep, which is not too bad. And in that recreational market, if you're lucky, you're living close to a cannabis club. If you're unlucky, you don't. So it might also be quite tricky actually to get your hands on cannabis. What's equal for those three markets, I think it's those barriers for entry or barriers for patients to get cannabis. Black market, it's illegal. In the medical market, you need to get a prescription. And in the recreational market, yeah, you need to be a club member or you need to live in a certain region to actually be part of some of those pilot projects. So all in all, if we have a look at the full picture, I think the medical market as of now is way better or superior to the other market systems. For us at Cantourage, we only see the only downside is the barrier for patients, which is getting a prescription. But as mentioned before, what's driving market growth is more and more doctors willing to have the dialogue, and more patients actively asking for cannabis as a therapy option. And here we also try to do our part because we have roughly 200,000 to 400,000 patients currently in Germany, but there's 4 to 5 million people using cannabis on a daily basis. And I firmly believe that some of them actually do use it also for medical purposes. We're trying to actively communicate with those, call them hidden patients. That's why we do different education campaigns. Currently, we've partnered with Purise, which is the market leader for so-called Aktivkohlefilter. I think the English technical term is activated charcoal filters. And here you can see, so we do an education campaign where people get a bit of knowledge, a bit of pointers, how to find doctors, how to find pharmacies dispensing cannabis, because we believe we need to educate those people daily using cannabis for medical purposes, but are not yet fully aware that cannabis can easily be prescribed and you don't need to be terminally ill to get a prescription. There's a bit of background noise. So we're back on. Yeah, so we're trying to get, so we're not, again, fighting with all the competition for those 200 to 400,000 patients. We're also trying to grow the cake, because there is definitely lots and lots of additional potential to further boost the medical system by bringing people from the recreational or black market into the legal medical system. Yeah, so that's pretty much us. That also shows in our numbers. And I'll hand over to Bernd to quickly talk about also our key financial figures.
Yeah, thank you. Also, a warm welcome from my side. Maybe quick introduction. My name is Bernd Fischer. I'm the CFO for Cantourage since January of this year. I've been, let's say, in the finance business as a CFO also for quite some time, primarily in the retail business, online and offline. And no, I'm not a patient, at least not yet. Let's see. But well, nevertheless, I like the idea of enabling patients to get access not only to good quality products but also affordable products, just as Philip described. So I think it's worth it, and I also really believe in terms of the usage of cannabis, that there are quite a few cases where it's really a true alternative to classic medicine products. So jumping on the next slide on the, let's say, the performance of the recent years. We are a young company. We are in a strong growth phase, as you can see for the recent years, starting on a very low basis in 2020, then 21, 5 million last year, almost tripled. For the Q1, we announced some time ago that we in the 5 million region, which is roughly a 90% increase compared to the previous year. We haven't announced anything regarding Q2, which is not finalized yet. But let me say we are quite relaxed on the recent development also in Q2. So that's fine. A core message I would like to let's say shout out is that we are really looking for a profitable growth. So we are not trying to burn money in high volume and then create some revenues, but rather really try to be lean in terms of investment, but also to be lean in terms of our risk profile. So the deals we do have with the grower that Philip already talked about is a revenue share model. So there is no revenue, there's no share, so there is no cost of sales from our perspective. So that our risk profile of getting the product is very low. So only when we generate revenues, we also create the according costs. That's to the advantage of not only our side, but also for the growers, especially for growers from Africa, from South America, from the Caribbean area. It's very interesting to join a partnership with us because they get access only via us to the German and EU market, and of course can sell their product for prices that they normally do not see in the other markets. So a classic win-win situation. We already have published the 2021 balance sheet. You can see also there that the investments in the assets is quite low. So there's just a few 100,000 for our production area where we produce the medicinal cannabis. So all of that is on a rather low investment level. I think that one of the key advantages financially for this model. And also that is one of the reasons that allows us to start growing in a rather profitable way. So EBITDA for the Q1, it's a very small profit, but I think you have to do quite some research to find a company on this earth, on this planet, doing cannabis business on a legal basis that generates profit. I think it's not easy to find. Cantourage is one of them. And that is, I think, a very important core message regarding the financial situation of Cantourage. When we look at the listing that we did last year in November, it was a so-called cold listing. There was a private listing ahead of the going public. So we did not raise money by going public. There have been some movements, with the start of the listing, which, in all honesty, is to a certain degree maybe a little bit crazy. I think the highest price was 40 euros, which is kind of insane, to be honest. However, after some clarifications, let's say, we've been around 10 euros. Also the discussion on the legalization, which was for many companies rather disappointing, did not really affect us. And I think there may be two reasons. The good reason is that our business model is not depending on the legalization. It already worked without that. And one of the reasons we choose this path is that we did not really believe that there will be a true legalization given the legal circumstances in the EU and also worldwide. One could say that maybe the other reason is that there's not a lot of trading in our shares. And maybe that is also a reason why there hasn't been a big drop. What we've seen recently, which you can see at the very right of this graph, some increase. I think given some good news around Cantourage, about its development, some press releases, there have been some interest of some investors buying some shares that drove the share price recently slightly. But all in all, I think, market capitalization, given the circumstances, is quite good. One of the downsides of investing in, or maybe the only one, to be honest, the only downside is the free flow of our shares. The majority is held by founders and the seed investors. We're looking to change that. Different options. Also the founders are willing to give away some shares. They're not willing to give up the control because there's quite some development ahead. They still want to participate and keep control of the company still. However, there's also the possibility maybe later this year, maybe for a capital increase to fund our growth. However, if someone is looking to take a stake, don't be shy. Not only say hey, but also talk to us. We may find a solution for that. So that's in hindsight, let's say the situation, the financial situation of our company. It's quite healthy. We're growing still on a higher level without burning huge amounts of cash. I think that's a very important message. Also going forward, that's still our objective, to stay operational profitable. And we think that's possible. We do think also that going forward, midterm, long term, that it is possible to really make cash and earn money in that business if you do it smart, like we do. Thank you.
Okay, we do have some couple of questions. I think we would just do it first in, first out. So the first question would be, how does Green Carrot plan to ensure the supply of high quality craft cannabis to meet the demand in the German market?
Yeah, it's Green Carrot. I think we just announced our partnership today because Green Carrot's products are, as of today, available in German pharmacies. Green Carrot, one of the premier craft cultivators out of Canada. They're definitely helping because we're in dire need of high quality of premium cannabis. It definitely supports our strategy, supports our portfolio. But it's one of our partners. We love all our children. We do have a few other also premium craft producers in our portfolio. Not for 20, Miracle Valley, but Green Carrot actually is a very nice addition to our network. Hopefully that answered the question.
We have a second question for Green Carrot. What are the specific benefits or advantages for patients in Germany with the availability of Green Carrot's high quality cannabis flowers?
Yeah, as mentioned, what I've learned from our production manufacturing team, yeah, it's a beautiful flower. It's a beautiful product. Pre-sales were excellent, so the latest batch is already sold out. Looks like we're meeting a market demand there. So it's again beautiful product. Yeah, nice terpene profile. Yeah, it definitely yeah finds patient needs.
After answering 2 green carrot questions, I think we can skip the third one and move on to the next, which would be how many pharmacies do you deliver currently, and how is the delivery done through wholesales?
So here we need to differentiate also with for the different product formats. With dronabinol, the neat THC, we basically delivering all of the pharmacies, because here we partner with the big pharma wholesale companies, the Allianz Healthcares, the Phoenixes of this world. So here we'll access to all pharmacies. In the flower business, it's a bit different. Here the market is somewhat concentrated. I think 30 to 50 pharmacies are doing 90% of the revenue. Lucky us, so it's myself, but also our sales director. We've been in direct talks with all the pharmacy owners since 2017. So we have also direct personal access to those very important pharmacy partners that actually, yeah, again, do 90% of the damage in terms of the dried flower business. And how is the delivery done? As mentioned, for dronabinol, so we're using logistics partner, and for the flower business, we're directly delivering to the pharmacies.
Then the next questions, it's about the insights we have on the government and what their timeline is. So what is the timeline for the next statute of the government? Is it before the summer break?
Tough to say. So we're not in the business of crystal ball reading. There is some movement. We're also somewhat involved in some of those discussions. Remains to be seen. The latest we've heard, there might be some sort of a draft proposal before the summer break. But given the ongoing discussion around the Heizungswende and the energy discussions, who knows? But as Bernd just pointed out, so we're not dependent on the legalization. Actually, we think that the current medical system actually benefits from the discussion, because cannabis is all over the news. It's not no longer considered a gateway drug or super harmful. People are talking openly in articles on TV about the benefits, medical benefits of cannabis. And as we saw in Canada, for example, before legalization, actually there was a huge growth of the medical side of the business. We firmly believe that actually the ongoing discussion is helping our current business. And if there's any recreational market, to me, it's the icing on the top, because that's actually just an additional huge market, which is mainly driven by flower. Also in the US or in Canada, it's still all about the flower. Most of the people consume flowers, also in the recreational market. And given our unique operating model, our very unique flower portfolio, I think we're super well positioned also to be very successful in any recreational market. But again, we're doing very well in the medical market. We're growing profitably, so we're super relaxed. It's just the icing on the cake.
The next 2 questions are back on the existing medical market that we are operating in. So first one would be, what motivated Cantourage to partner with Breathing Green Solutions and enter the European market?
Yeah, I can see there's a few questions around Breathing Green. Yeah, also Breathing Green. We're always on the lookout for excellent cultivators. Breathing Green is one of them. Trying to bring their products into the European market. And as mentioned also with Green Carrot, I think those are special products which will definitely hit patient needs. And also I can see there's also a question around certain growing or cultivation techniques. Yeah, always also looking for innovation in terms of cultivation, which will lead to better products or better price points. So Breathing Green is using a certain method, which is also quite exciting. Yeah, always looking for excellent growers, innovative methods or innovative products. And Breathing Green is also one of those companies which definitely completes our product portfolio.
Still on Breathing Green, the question, how does this partnership contribute to Cantourage's overall strategy in expanding access to cannabis products in Germany and the European medical markets?
Yeah, as mentioned, so definitely it's a boost or addition to our portfolio. Again, so high quality products or excellent price points, products that are consistently being delivered into the markets definitely helps. We definitely think about bringing all the products into the different EU medical markets. Currently, we're establishing most of our products also in the UK and soonish other European markets. I think, as Bernd mentioned, most of those growers, they can't access any EU medical market without us. We're an enabler, also trying to then with them grow also in different markets, bringing their products into international markets. We just recently launched the Miracle Valley products also in the UK soonish, or we just announced that actually last week. We brought a Lot 420s product to the UK. First time ever that there's a truly craft cannabis available in a medical system. Feedback is not too bad, I think.
So we have another question. What are you doing better than True Leaf, which also sell medicinal cannabis, which shares are only in direction south?
So I'm not too familiar with True Leaf, or I won't comment. But looking at ourselves, profitable growth, an asset-light business and operating model, a very experienced management team. I think a very refined strategy. We only enter those markets where we can actually make some profits rather soonish. Yeah, given our know-how, our experience, I think we do make wise decisions as of now, and it also shows in our numbers. And also investors do take notice that we're doing things differently.
Next question would be about capital increase, which is under which circumstances would you see a need for funding actions, any form of capital increase by issuing new shares, or would you rather look at the debt side of things?
No, sorry. Very likely this is not going to be a double-digit capital increase. So very likely 10% given the current share price. This would, easily give us the potential of raising something between 6, 8 to 10 million. Reason for that is primarily that given the further growth we expect sometime next year or the year after, the necessity of increasing our capacities in terms of production. That's one thing. There's also a certain need in terms of working capital. The more growers we put on our platform and the more pharmacies we try to connect to, it's always helpful in terms of conditions and profitability to be able to have some flexibility. And there's also a third idea that we are currently following, how to enable doctors and also patients to get more easy access to prescriptions. That's something where we do see the potential of investment, maybe in software or similar. There's nothing concrete, to be honest with you. There might be also going forward some M&A transactions, given the current circumstances, so that a lot of companies in that area are struggling. Apart from us, there might be some potential, and we want to be prepared for that. There's no urgent need, given the fact that we are on a profitable growth path. But as well, as Philip said, we are doing wise decisions. So we're trying always to be ahead. And that's why we start thinking about that on rather early stages. And given the shareholder structure, I think there's some room also for new investors to join us. But that's something that in case of, we will come up with, of course, some more details when the time has come. That's right. Yeah, sorry. Looks like I'm totally familiar with that system already. However, there was one question, if you're looking for a capital increase or debt side, I think we would rather go for a capital increase. We do think that there is enough interest in investing in Cantourage. We do not see high need for cash. That's why a capital increase more likely is more than sufficient. Maybe I take the last one also. Idea about revenue 2025. Yeah, crystal ball. It's a dynamic surrounding. That's one thing. The other thing is we did not announce any kind of guidance so far, but I might refer to the one research which out there from Newways, which is prognosticating something around 30 million. That last year 40 million was the total revenue for Cantourage Group. First quarter almost doubled. I said that regarding the second quarter we are quite relaxed. So if you do the simple math, it doesn't look like that 30 million is totally out of range. In the end, we're trying to follow that path, of course, also for the next years. I'm hesitating to announce right now that we are going to double revenues every year. I would like to. However, needs to be seen. We also, as Philip said, looking at other countries. We just recently entered also some countries in Europe with our Roundtable solution. We do see potential also for the future. We do see that markets more and more open towards cannabis and similar products, and we are going to take advantage of that. That's for sure. Time frame, volume, that's, to be honest, not easy to predict.
I think there's one question that we skipped by accident also in your direction, Bernd. Can you give us some more insights on the volume of the potential capital increase?
No, I think I answered that. It's going to be most likely 10% in capital increase. So the easy solution, given the current share price, something between 6 and 10 million. That's my guess right now. But to be fair, nothing of that is decided yet. That's just an idea, and it's just to let you know. In case of course, we're looking for interested investors And it's helpful to start talking about that rather early.
And that's the reason why you are here today, I would say. Talk to the investors quite early. That has been the question so far, if I am right. So if there are any more questions, we can just wait a short, brief moment. If there is anything else, we could reply. Otherwise,
what I just wanted to say, in the meantime, maybe we were talking about our experienced management beforehand. We do have a slide for that. While the investors, the potential investors come up with more questions, maybe we can just talk about our management team for a sec.
Of course.
Yeah, maybe just real quick, because I also mentioned it's one of the more experienced teams in the cannabis industry. I think hopefully you get to know Bernd and myself, but also Constanze Pelzer and Bernhard Retzer. They have been active in there's a bit of background noise, so yeah, thank you. Constanze Pelzer, one of the founders of Cantourage, she was also instrumental in setting up the first cannabis wholesaler in Europe called Pedanius, which basically I joined in 2017, but also Bernhard Retzer joined Pedanius, which later was acquired by Aurora. That's why also I became the managing director of Aurora Europe and built the European platform for Aurora. Pedanius was basically founded by Patrick Hoffmann and Florian Holzapfel. So they are, we call them the godfathers of the European cannabis industry. And actually Michael Ruoff and Florian Keinzinger were the ones who actually provided the seed money for Pedanius and then later on Cantourage. So all in all, we've been active for quite some time and also have been working together for quite some time. So very experienced, very close management team. Feels like a family so far. Yeah, we're having lots of fun at building a company. And so far we've been not unsuccessful, let's say. So now I gave everybody ample time to type a few questions.
Indeed, you did. But actually, there has no further question been written down. So I guess we are at the end of your presentation, and I just want to say thank you, Cantourage. An interesting story it is. So I also would like, with the contact details, want to offer to the audience, please contact Cantourage directly, or you also could get in contact with us from Ulster Research, and then we will manage the contact directly to Cantourage. So Aline, Bernd, and Philip, thanks a lot for the presentation today, and I hope to see you quite soon again.
Thank you so much. Speak soon. Bye-bye.
Bye, thank you.
Bye-bye.